Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Commander's Crypt. I've got an awesome video for you today. I've got Mirko, the Obsessive Theorist. I love this deck. It is so much fun. So what I have done is I actually did a video where I opened the box, but now I'm doing a video where I show you the cards that I replaced to make this a fun and strong deck. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Mirko, Obsessive Theorist. He's Demirin 1, Flying Vigilance. Whenever you surveil, put a +1 counter on him. At the beginning of your end step, you may return target creature card with power less than Mirko's from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. I love this commander because I'm a big fan of reanimation. I always have been. I've been playing Magic since '94, and I've been reanimating creatures out of the graveyard since then. I absolutely love it, and it's neat that I can play with all of the old reanimate cards. You'll see Animate Dead and Necropotence, not Necropotence, but Necromancy. But I really like this deck. The other thing that is really good about this guy is he's super cheap to cast. So if he gets killed a bunch of times, he's easy to keep putting back out. But he's flying and vigilance. That is so strong. That is not usually something you see in the black and blue color pie. But there are some. But like Zephyr Falcon from Legends, old card, blue 1/1 flyer. But anyway, yeah. So this is a really awesome deck, and so we're going to get into it. So even before looking at the cards, you're thinking, okay, if he can reanimate, that you're going to want to make him bigger. So you're going to be surveilling all over the place, which draws you cards and puts cards in your graveyard to reanimate. But then also to make things faster, to speed things up, you're going to want things that make him big quick. So that's what we've done. I have replaced Whispering Snitch with Mask of Avacyn. So Mask of Avacyn, another thing too is the way you're going to win with this deck, I've play tested it, and the way you're going to win with this deck is you're going to basically be, it's player removal. You're going to be removing the other players with Mirko. It happens all the time. This guy gets so huge, he can block and then he can hit people. So people are trying to kill him. Shoot him. So you're going to put a Mask of Avacyn on him. Things with hexproof are better than Shroud, so you can keep putting stuff on him. He's kind of a Voltron deck as well. Mask of Avacyn, it gets +1/+2 and has hexproof. So there you go. Actually, Commander's Helm would probably be a better choice. I'm going to grab one of those and put that in. It's 3 to cast and 1 to equip, and gives legendaries +1 and hexproof. But this also, actually I think it's +2/+2 on that one. But anyway, you want to put a card on it that's going to give him protection from being shot and also going to buff him. The next card I replaced was Thought Vessel. I replaced Thought Vessel with Black Blade Reforged. Same thing, same casting costs of 2, but way more impactful in the deck. It is this card is amazing. It comes out of nowhere, and you can really buff your guy. Plus, I've got a Crucible of Worlds in here, which I will show you that helps buff him as well. I absolutely love this deck. Imagine, so the other night I had this on my guy, and he was like, man, I had like 9 lands out, so he was like up there. And so, yeah, so and then you can start reanimating all your big creatures out of your graveyard with them. I replaced a Talisman of Dominance with a Tarian Soul Cleaver. Again, this card gets pumped fast. Equipped creature has vigilance. Whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put +1 counter on equipped creature. So your guy's going to get huge fast because people are now playing lots of treasures. So when those treasure tokens hit the graveyard, this thing's going to get huge. And it's also super cheap to equip if you want to move it over to another creature. It's only 2 to equip. Very amazing card. I don't think they're that expensive either. Then there's Mirko, Deep Operative. I took him out and I put in a Nuclear Fallout. The reason why I did that is Nuclear Fallout's an amazing card. Each creature gets twice XX until end of turn. Each player gets X rad counters. So what's going to happen is you're going to cast this. Your Mirko is going to be, way bigger than everybody else. All the other creatures on the board are going to die except for yours, and it's basically a one-sided board wipe. You're going to see the creatures I put in here as reanimate targets have big power and defenses, so you might be able to fire off this Nuclear Fallout, wipe out the board, but keep all your creatures intact, and then go on. And then you're going to mill your opponents, and then you're going to mill yourself to give yourself more reanimate targets in your graveyard. Very good card. Black Sun Zenith came in the deck. And then there's a Toxic Deluge also in the deck. Very, very good cards. I replaced Night Veil Shade with Lightning Greaves. There's only about 20 some odd surveil cards in here, so you don't want to cut too many of the surveil cards. But Lightning Greaves is probably much more important than that 1/1 flyer. I took out Dogged Detective, same thing. He's also got Surveil. It kind of broke my heart to do it, but I put Swiftfoot Boots in. Same thing, you got to protect this guy, and he's got hexproof. Baleful Strix, that was another hard cut. I didn't want to take him out, but I replaced him with Nirok Stealth Suit. This is an amazing card. It's basically a floating counter spell out there. You can put it on one of your creatures, and it's just sitting there for a while, and then when somebody goes to shoot one of your creatures, you can pay 2 and move this over to that other creature and stop the effect. It has a big surprise value. This is a very good card. It's basically a counter spell, a roving counter spell that protects Mirko, but then could protect. You can switch it back and forth at instant speed. Very, very amazing card. Don't see it get played enough. Then Soul Ring, of course. Then I took Mind Stone out and I put a Mana Vault in. This deck, I took a lot of the mana rocks out, as I will show you, because this deck doesn't need a whole lot of mana to reanimate stuff. The reanimate spells are cheap. So there's a lot of ways to throw them into the graveyard. But with Mana Vault, what you can do is you could raw dog, hardcast one of your big guys if you have it in your hand, third or fourth turn with the Mana Vault. If you've got a 6 CMC or 7 CMC creature, you can put this out. I can put my Toxrill out like 4th turn with this card. So that's why it's in there. Whoops. And then we got Arcane Signet. Dimir Signet I took out and put a Crucible of Worlds. As far as I'm concerned, a Crucible of Worlds is also a mana rock, kinda. It helps you ramp for 1 more mana than the Dimir Signet. You get to play lands out of your graveyard, and that's what you're going to be doing. Every turn, you're going to be playing a land out of your graveyard, and so you're not going to miss a land drop. You're going to be throwing a bunch of lands into the graveyard when you're surveilling, digging for stuff that you need. Akroma's Vengeance. Wow. Akroma's Memorial. This card is so strong. Once this comes out, all the players that are playing black, Rakdos are just screwed. And anybody playing black and red is just screwed. This card is so amazingly strong. You should pick them up. The other day I had like 8 of my big fatties out there. You can attack, and then they still got vigilance. And even if they're not in black or red, it gives all your creatures first strike. So once this is out, if they can't deal with this, this is going to be a real problem. And there's a little combo that I've got in this deck with a couple combos I have in this deck with this card, which I will show you in a second. Chroma's Memoria, crazy strong. Creatures you control get flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and pro black and red. One of my favorite cards. I bought so many of these to put them in all my decks because I just love it so much. Counterpoint, I like this card, but what's better? Maybe sitting around being responsive and maybe getting to counter something and then take one card out of your graveyard, or for the same CMC, you get to have a board wipe and then put all the creatures that you have in the graveyard out at once. And then here's one of the combos right here. If you've got your Chroma's Memorial out, all your cards come out and are able to swing right away. All your big fatties are coming out, and they're coming out with a vengeance. So there you go. That I swapped that out for a Living Death. Final Word Phantom, good card, but I took him out and I put a Rise of the well, I'll show you what I replaced with him here in a second. Rise of the Dark Realms was already in the deck. I switched out my foily. Same thing. Same thing. Very, very amazing combo with this. I'm also going to put a Grimoire in here. It does the same thing. It's an artifact for 4. You tap it. 1 mana, discard a card. Put a counter on it. When you've got 4 counters on it, it goes off and does the same thing as Rise of the Dark Realms. Same thing. It takes all creatures out of the graveyards and puts them into play. And with your Chroma's Memorial, now you've got every card in the graveyard, and you just swing out on everybody and win the game. That's what I changed out the Final Word Phantom for. Coffin Queen. Same CMC, but she is a reanimate on a stick. You may choose not to untap her during your untap step. Black and 2, tap her, take a creature out of the graveyard. This is at instant speed. That's why I like this so much. The other day, somebody went to do something, shoot my commander, do something, and I instantly took this and grabbed a creature out of someone else's graveyard that gave all my creatures hexproof. So very, very strong. One of my favorite cards. I think that the art on this card is absolutely beautiful. Old Kaja Foglio. And now we get into the Reanimate package. Animate Dead. Connive and Concoct. I like that card a lot. You can either gain control of target creature with power 2 or less, or surveil 3, and then reanimate a creature. Reanimate, an oldie but a goodie from the Tempest block. One little trick that you could do with Reanimate, I do this all the time, and every time I do it, my friends and opponents just groan and roll their eyes. What I like to do with Reanimate is when I draw my hand, and if I got a Reanimate on my hand, the first thing I do is I look around in my hand to see if I've got a big fat creature in my hand. And if I do, what I'll do is on the first turn I'll draw, I've got 8 cards, and I'll say, oh darn, I don't have any lands, and I'll put a creature down. And then second turn I'll play that land, reanimate him, and then I'm way ahead of everybody. I've got a Toxeril or something out second turn. I'll show you the creatures I have in this deck. I've done it so many times that they know my little trick now, and they always groan and roll their eyes when I do that. Carnal Serenade. This card is amazing. Oh my God, I love this card. So Living Death is an amazing magic card, but it is banned. Basically, what you can do is sacrifice a creature and sacrifice recurring nightmares to take a smaller creature off your board and put a bigger creature in the graveyard onto the field, and you can just keep doing it. Recurring nightmare goes back to your hand. It's banned because it's so powerful, but Carnal Serenade is kind of along that same tip, but not as strong. Surveil 3, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Exile Carnal Serenade with 3 suspend counters on it. So then three time counters later, it comes back out and does it again, and it suspends. It makes Mirko bigger. Really, really love this card. Necromancy, oldie but a goodie. You can either do this as it's enchantment. You can either do it at sorcery speed or you can do it at instant speed. But if you do it at instant speed, then it goes away at the end of the turn and your creature has to go back to the graveyard. I replaced Reign of Revelation. It didn't even have surveil or anything. It was just like draw 3 cards and discard a card. Okay, all right. And I put a Dread Return in there. It's the same CMC. So, I felt like this deck needed more reanimation stuff. So you can take a creature out, and then later on it's got flashback, sack 3 creatures, and you can put a creature back into play. I'll probably put a Victimize in here too. That's the sorcery for 1 black and 2 where you sacrifice a creature and pull 2 creatures out of your graveyard. That would be also another good thing to do. Sphinx of the Second Sun. He's good. His CMC is 8, but you know what's better? Shodred, the Whispering one. She's way better, and she's 1 less mana. She's got Swamp Walk, and she reanimates targets out of your graveyard and makes your opponent sacrifice a creature every turn. Very back-breaking. Next is Master of Death. I kept him in there because you can keep pulling him out of your graveyard. He has Surveil 2. Sinister Starfish, I kept him in there because he's got a big butt. And so he can block little guys for you, but then every turn you get to make Mirko bigger and he gets a surveil. I took the Shrinkmaw out and replaced it with Phyrexian Ingester or Duplicant. I replaced the Shrinkmaw with Duplicant. Duplicant is 6 mana as well. Ingester, so I wanted to get a lot of creatures that had awesome ETB triggers. So killing something for 6 mana isn't as good as exiling something for 6 mana, and and then your creature gets that other creature's power and toughness. Dream Eater, very good card. Flash, Surveil 4, bounce a permanent back to an opponent's hand. Sir Conrad the Grim. He's awesome. When things start dying, he starts pinging everybody a lot, and they start to feel it after a while. Vizier of Many Faces I took out, and I put in Toxeril the Corrosive. This guy is a banger. This guy's a beast. When you put him out, man, everybody's going to start groaning because all of their creatures are going to start dying. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Creatures you don't control get -1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a black slug token. Creature, and then you can Dimir, sack a slug, draw a card. This really just hoses your players, hoses your buddies big time. Love this card, my favorite card, and it's foily. Doom Whisper, amazing card. Flying Trample. This is one of my favorite cards too. For 5 mana, you get a 6/6 Flying Trampler. Pay 2 life, Surveil 2. So you can start filling your graveyard, digging for what you need for that big Rise of the Dark Realms spell that you can pop out later and win the game with. Very awesome guy. I replaced one of the lands with a Glass Pool Mimic. It's a land on the back, but you can copy a non-legendary creature. So you can copy, Doom Whisperer or anything like that. Any of these other creatures I'm about to show you. I took out Hostile Desert, a real crappy land, and put in Netzahal, Primal Tide. This guy draws you cards, but then he also is impossible to kill. But then also he allows you to discard 3 cards and blink him, and that is the reason why he can never be killed. But also it helps you fill your graveyard with creatures. Very strong. He's a battle cruiser. I took out Twilight Prophet and put in Massacre Girl Known Killer. So what she gives all your creatures with her and card draw. So there you go. For the same CMC, I figured Massacre Girl was better. I get what they're doing with Twilight Prophet. They are allowing you to see what's on top of your deck with your surveil, and then you can bomb your guys. But I don't think she works as well in this deck as she would a vampire deck. Steel Hellkite. This came in a deck. I put my Foily version in there. This guy is a staple in black and blue because he allows you to destroy permanents like enchantments, things like that black cannot do. So he's got fire breathing and X, destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X. My favorite thing to do is to fly over and do an X of 0 and kill someone's tokens. I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. Next, we got Phyrexian Metamorph. He can be any artifact or creature. He's awesome. I took out Disinformation Campaign. It's just kind of clunky in this deck, and I replaced it with Noxious Gearhulk. He's 3 more mana, but he's ETBs, and one thing this deck is short on is life gain. So you can play this on a big old creature and pad your life. Watcher of Hours, he's awesome. 6/6 flying, ward 3. You could suspend him for 6, and for 1 blue and 1. And then you can surveil and make Mirko bigger. Lazav the Multifarious, crazy strong. He becomes a copy of a card in your graveyard, so you can you could copy legendary creatures with him that's in your graveyard, and he becomes a copy of that until you change his X again. Ravenous Chupacabra, awesome card. Again, ETB, and you can loop these things. You can keep reanimating these things and killing people's stuff. Ransom Node, I took that out and replaced him with a Triplicate Titan. He's awesome. He's with that reanimate thing I was telling you about earlier, you could get him out second turn. Now it's going to hurt. Or third turn, you could, animate dead him or whatever. But again, this allows you to smack face and block. And then he comes back if somebody kills it. He comes back as a 3/3/3. He's a flying, a first strike, and a vigilance 3/3 golem. I took the swamp and replaced Razaketh the Foul-Blooded. He is amazing. He is a tutor on a stick. He's 8/8 for 8, and you can get him out very quick with your Reanimator package. I took out Everflowing Chalice to put in an Ancient Stone Idol. This guy is 1 less for each attacking creature. He's a 12/12 Trampler. When he dies, he becomes a 6/12 construct artifact creature. So these creatures, they die, but that they come back, and then you reanimate them. The other day, I was attacking with my triplicate Titan, and somebody rabbit hybridized him. And so I got a 3/3 lizard monkey or whatever the heck it was, lizard frog, and then I got the 3 guys. So when she shot my creature, she basically gave me more power and toughness on the board. Massacre Worm, -2/-2 till end of turn. Whenever a creature opponent dies, that player loses 2 life. Very strong. Grave Titan. I took the old one out and put my Foily version in. He's got Death Touch. He makes zombies, which you can then sacrifice to Razaketh to be able to tutor, duplicate, to exile cards. I took the Brainstorm out. There's already a lot of surveil and drawing, and for 2 more mana, I put a Veto of the Dusk Rose in here. You really need this. This guy's a banger, man. Late game the other day, I just played him for 3 and attacked with a bunch of creatures that I had with the Necroma's Vengeance. and got 30 life back. I was down to 4. And, you can use them right away because it's black, black, 3, and colon. And then you can use that damage to kill another player. You could kill 2 players at once and make your life bigger. Lord of the Void, he's just a big body, 7/7, exile the top 7 cards and take a creature out of it. Very strong. I played this the other day and people hated it so much it kept going back and forth, people killing it, taking it all over the place because they did not want me to hit them with this. Overseer of the Damned, he's ETB, but then if somebody board wipes, you make a bunch of zombies. Villas, Broker of Blood, this guy's awesome. People don't play with this guy enough. He is 8/8 for 8, and then whenever you get damaged for anything, you get to draw cards. He's amazing. I took out Phyrexian Arena, even though I love that card and I love that picture, and I put in a new card called Struggle for Project Purity. For 1 more mana, you get to draw more than just 1 card and lose a life. You're going to draw 3 cards at least, maybe more if you've got a bigger pod. So there you go. You could just Sharpie the Enclave part of this card and just, it's a cheap Rhystic study if you don't have the money for a Rhystic study. Pylon, some of the removal, Surveil 2. You can convoke it and cast it for free. Actually, for 1 black. Commit to Memory, very good card. Because you're throwing cards into your graveyard, you can toss this in your graveyard when you surveil it, and then you use this memory portion. Somebody's milling you out or whatever. The other day I was playing, it was a mega battle royale against a mill deck. It was me and her heads up. 7 other players had been eliminated. She got me down to 0 cards. I cast this and put all my hand in my graveyard back in my library, came back and won the game. That was also the same game. I used Veto to go from 4 back up to 30-something. Unshakable Tail enters the battlefield, and during your upkeep, Surveil 1. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard, you may investigate to make a clue. This guy's pretty good. Consider another Surveil card. Surveil 1, draw a card. Curate, Surveil 2, draw a card. Instance Mission Briefing. Even better than Snapcaster Mage, not the Snapmaster Cage. Mission Briefing. Very, very, very fantastic card. Notion Rain. Draw 2 cards. Surveil 2. Unauthorized exit. I put this in here. 2. Return target non-land permanent to owner's hand. Surveil 1. Discovery Dispersal. Very, very good card. Surveil 2. Draw 2 cards. Or each opponent bounces a permanent of highest value to their hand. Otherworldly Gaze. Surveil 3 for 1 with Flashback. Enhanced Surveillance, very good card. This allows you to surveil for 2 more, but then if you're about to get milled, you can crack this and shuffle your graveyard back into your library. Affairs Dispersal for 1 blue. You can bounce back a creature and surveil 2. Price of Fame. If it's a legendary creature, it only costs 1 black and 1. Surveil 2, destroy target creature. Case of the Shifting Visage. Upkeep Surveil 1. If you have 15 cards in your graveyard, then it's solved. Whenever you cast an auxiliary creature spell, copy that spell. Super cool. And then Port of Carfell is a reanimate on a land, which you could keep bringing back with your Crucible of Worlds, Rogue Passage. You make Mirko unblockable, Drown Yard Temple. You pull this out of your graveyard. Mystic Sanctuary. Pull your sorceries or instants out of your graveyard. Temple of the False God. And that's it. So I hope you enjoy my build. I really like this deck. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And it's got a couple of relatively cheap combos in it. So there you go. I'm going to get on out of here. I hope to see you on the next Commander's Crypt New Orleans.